Alright, this is Norman Yeo from Tengi Lab, and this is the part 2 of the series. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your very first conversion ads. So using Macho Gym again, you see at the right hand corner, look at this small little arrow, click on the arrow. Just go to create ads, and when it's your first time creating ads, you actually see something like this. They will be loading and etc. So when you go on to create your ads, right, just click on increase conversion on your website, or yeah, so you click on increase conversion on your website. They will ask you to create a pixel. Okay, so you just create a pixel, and yeah, for this now you can just click this off. So choose the URL that you want to promote. So for example, I may have if I'm promoting to my website, or if you are promoting to your landing page, just click on it and it will load. For now, until you install your conversion pixel, just randomly choose a conversion pixel, like let's say complete registration, then just continue. Okay, when you look at this, you'll see all this. Make sure you set the Singapore currency, Singapore dollar, time zone Singapore. Of course, this is also relative to the time zone that you're in. Okay, so we'll move in. If you want to change the name of your ad account, you can change here. Uh, if not, you can just leave it alone. That's actually not the most crucial. So in the first phase, right, they will ask you who do you want your ads to reach out to, and basically you will see that your ads, right, is divided in three levels. Firstly, the campaign objective level. This is where you actually set the objective. So for now, we have set our objective as website conversion. The second layer is basically the ad set layer, and this is where you set all your targeting. And of course, the third layer is called the ad layer, where you actually do up the actual ad. So I'll show you the various, and you can actually take a look. Okay. I think a better example is, let me use this instead. HTTP//feature spelling dot oops. Okay, never mind. You just stick to Tangular then. Okay, so when it goes to targeting, very importantly is to think from your audience in terms of their hobbies or their interests, or their it can be a bit more about their demographic. But just to share very quickly, first thing that you need to do is always set this to English. Or if you're targeting other country people, actually to target other country people in Singapore, one of the best targeting tools is to use the language. For example, if you're targeting like one of the class participant was targeting Filipino, so if I want to target all the Filipino in Singapore, I can actually target let's say Filipino. Yeah, and I'll know that approximately there's 38,000 people who are on Facebook who are Filipino, and this can be a good targeting ad set also. Then from there, I can further filter down to test out a little bit more. But taking the Filipino as an example, I can move on to targeting. If I want to niche it even a little bit more, maybe if I want people from Filipino who have a little bit more free time, I may start going to see what are the Filipino channel out there. So if you were to see Filipino TV in Singapore, okay, so you can have TFC. I think TFC is one of the very popular one. Let's just get a full form of what TFC actually stands for. Oops. It's all acronym. It's good to use the full form. TFC. The Filipino channel. So as an interest, right, you can see as an interest, you can see is there the Filipino channel. So you see the Filipino channel, just target this, and you will see about 4,007. You can actually target the rest of the more niche channel. Okay, you can see on the right hand side people who express interest. Okay, so just target more Filipino related channel, and it should be good. Yeah. So of course, before doing all this, make sure you do your research also. Get an idea of what you want to target in terms of the channels and in terms of the magazine. and everything is all Googleable, so you can actually try Filipino magazines. Okay, so all these are also Googleable. As much as possible, make sure it's niche. Okay, so you can just see all these. Cosmopolitan is everywhere, so it may not be a good magazine. Maybe Philippine Digest, so I want to add in. Before doing this, right, I should have a list of things that I want to target already. Okay, so sometimes it doesn't have, maybe because it's not big enough. If it's not big enough, then we can just skip and move on. Okay, so let's say this is my targeting group. Okay, if you want, you can actually save your audience. So you can save your audience as Filipino in Singapore underscore. You can put your interest group, TFC, and GMA. Sometimes it's too long, we may not even want to put it. We can just put it as TV and radio. Okay, so this one way of targeting. Other way of targeting that you can consider. So if let's say most of us are targeting more banking and financial people. Okay, let's say you want more mid-level income people and you want to target the people of inside a bank. You can actually go into demographic, look at work, go into employers. Okay, and in the employers you can just basically state out all the major financial institutions in Singapore. Like let's say UOB Bank. Okay, UOB Bank. So if some other things, it's always thinking about what's the common point between your audience, and from the common point, then you can actually start filtering out more people. United Overseas Bank. So you see on the right hand side, if it's fewer than 1,000, it's really too niche. You will definitely need to think how to make it bigger. And it may be compiling many different banks. So now I only have two banks here. If you have to compile all the banks in Singapore, definitely you can achieve a very, very long list. If you remember when we were targeting real estate agents and insurance agents, we actually have a really super long list of all the insurance agent company in Singapore, and that was actually one of the effective way of targeting also. Of course, it definitely require a little bit more discipline to really go and research, etc. But once again, the beautiful thing is everything is Googleable. You can just go Google bank in Singapore. Okay, look for Wikipedia. Wikipedia is our good friend here. And yeah, you can just basically see all the mainstream bank. Sorry. Yeah, you can basically see all the mainstream bank and all the sub bank. Probably you want to target more of the popular sub bank, those that you can see on the street, so that it's easier to target them. Okay, Credit Suisse, etc. These are all people with huge manpower, or even I think in Singapore there's a few. Bank of America is also is hiring quite aggressively in Singapore, so these are actually good targeting. Okay, demographics, of course, relationship status. For those who are actually targeting people who have a housing, one of the good ways to target them based on parents. Okay, basically people, this all these parents, you can just basically target all parents. Most of the time, the hypothesis is if you're a parent, most likely you will have a house. Yeah, so we can just, if you want to target, if you believe that most of your customers are men, or if you work better with men rather than women, you can just target the men. And this is a good targeting, 170,000. Maybe you might want to niche it a little bit more. If I were to say maybe people who really buy my policies are maybe 30 years old onwards. Yep, so you have an outreach of about 160,000. Is there any further need to niche them a little bit more based on their interest? Maybe you might want to niche them based on a little bit, let's say, furniture. People who are interested in furniture, or you may even, if let's say you want to target a little bit more atas one, maybe you can actually target thick furniture. People who are specifically interested, oh, but this is a little bit too niche, may need to expand it a little bit more. So apart from thick furniture, what else is really more atas that we can put as part of a housing interest? Okay, just one thing to take note is that sometimes your targeting may be too broad. Uh, because there's this thing called what we call aspirational interest. That means people like the brand or people follow the brand not because they are a real consumer, but because it look good following the brand. For example, one of a very straightforward example would be to target Rolex. Okay, if you to see Rolex, you'll see that, oops, You see that there's about 200,000 people. Oh, I think there's a filter. Previously, when we target Rolex, we can reach out to more than 1.3 million, which is actually very, very wide. So maybe if we target a little bit more Chanel, Gucci, Prada, you see that actually this is 500,000. Is there really 500,000 people who are buying all this stuff in Singapore? Or are they buying maybe pirated stuff? So sometimes you might want to think about whether this number it makes sense to your target market or not. If you're targeting a niche market, this ideally should be lesser. When we talk about lesser, it can be even around 10,000 to 20,000. That would be a good start for a Singapore market. If it's too broad, you'll be wasting money targeting people who are not interested in your product. So when you start thinking about your targeting, right, as much as possible, it's good to keep it a range of around 10 to 20,000, unless it's really, really straightforward that, hey, this is the group of people that we are targeting. So just as a reminder, thinking that everyone is your customer is a big no-no. Everyone can be your customer, but will everyone be your customer is a different question. So as much as possible, you want to target the lowest hanging fruit and those who will buy from you immediately. Then you are at the right train of thought. Okay, so once you set your targeting, the next important thing will be to set your budget. For a start, just put a daily budget of $5. $5 to $10 is good. You can actually start with $10. That's perfectly fine. Okay, all this you can just leave it alone for now. Okay, then that goes into moving on where we start creating your ad. Choose this a single image or video in your ads. Okay, then move on by selecting your ad images. You have to browse a library. Okay, for start, this is something which we created some time ago, or you can actually go into you can actually you will need to create your own ad images. Okay, so it will look something like this. Just take note that the ad images is in this pixel 1200 times 6628, and if you see the reason why all the text are below is because there's a 20% text rule. Your image may not include more than 20% text. Okay, and in creating your image, right, just to give you an illustration of what the 20% text rule is, this is actually a very, very good example. How Facebook determines it, right, is that they actually divide your ads, right, into 25 little boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when they say 20%, right, it means that the number of boxes that it covers, right, cannot be more than 5. And if you see in this case, let me just vectorize this layer. Okay, when you see in this case, right, it takes exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, right, if I were to just shift the text, right, to like this, okay, you see? In this way, right, if you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this will cause it to fail the rule. So for simplicity, right, I'm going to create a separate video, especially for those of you who do not use Photoshop, on how you can actually create your ad visual to be 20% within 20% text rule. Okay, so for now we will just close this and we go back to our ad. Okay, so you have something like this. Then this is where you put on your compelling headline. You see that you just need to adjust your headline and your text. Okay, by the way, just click show advanced option also. Okay, so your headline, it will be what you can type, maybe download free ebook, 7 tips to financial freedom. Okay, I'm sure you all have already done your ebook and your homework, so make sure that you have write something more precise. Oops. Yeah, so you have something like this, 7 tips to financial freedom. You'll be able to see it across your different platform, your mobile news feed. Okay, yeah. I'm not a big fan of audience network. Usually I'll off audience network, but this is highly optional. You can choose a call to action button. So you can say download. Just make sure that your ad look correct in the mobile. Yeah, so you have something like this. Okay, so on mobile, on desktop, it will look something like this. Then you can actually type a little bit more. Dear friends, or usually there are a few ways you can do this. You can do a market call, calling all parents, or calling all Filipino living in Singapore. Then you can just type something. Are you tired? Let's just see what's this. Okay. You all can't do this because this you can add in all these boxes in an advanced editor, which is called Power Editor. But for the purpose of this, let's just start simple. Okay, calling all Filipino living in Singapore. Are you tired of uh, working here for the next 3 years, but yet when you go back home, you actually do not have a cent dollar there for yourself? Okay, so it can be something like this. They will ask you to limit it within 90 characters, so you may need to reconsider that also. The reason why is because on newsfeed it will actually cover off, or in audience network. Actually, I think if you remove audience network, you have a lot more flexibility. Yeah, so this is what they are saying. If you type this, there's a cover off. Okay, so when it's a yellow exclamation mark, you still can post, but when it's red color, you can't. So you will have your first ad. It will look something like this. In your page, if you added your cover photo, it should have the image. Okay, and there you got it, creating your first ad. So we just place order. Oh, yeah, you can choose your ad page, Macho Man. Make sure you choose the correct one. There you see, ta-da, there you have it. So we just place order. Processing your order, it take a few seconds. And then they will ask you to add in your credit card details, which you will add in. And okay, let me just add in my PayPal account so that you all can take a look at how the whole process looks like. Anyway, let's not wait for this. I think this is a bit too slow. So after you create your ads, right, you will actually be seeing something like this. Okay. No, you won't be seeing this, but you'll be seeing something like this instead. Let me show you this. Let's see if there's any conversion campaign. Oh, usually I don't run conversion campaign on this ad set. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so you'll see something like this. For example, this is a good example. When your ads is out, you will have your campaign. Okay, you'll be able to see your campaign level. Okay, then when you click into your campaign, you can actually see the various interests. For me now, every time I run a campaign, I will create many different interests with many different ads. But you all can start with one. Just do one interest to one ads. So you will see something like this. Then you will see one ad, and you can see how your ad is performing. Okay, so I hope this video actually give you an idea on how you can create your very first ad. And don't let this stop you. Just go out and test. Along the way, please feel free to ask me more questions. Thank you.